Welcome to this update video for the Seven Crosses series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, and we're picking up on the 3rd of July 2026. And you can see we've now got a population of just over 94,000. And what I want to do in this video is give you an update on why I haven't actually been making any videos for this series, and also where we're going to be going when the next update drops into the beta branch. Then I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the state of the economy and what I've actually been doing off camera. And then finally, I just wanted to show you a major step forward that I've actually done in this series. Now, I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm just going to jump straight into why I haven't actually recorded very much. And there's been basically two reasons. One is that I've just been so busy, and also with the recent heat wave here in the UK, it's just been very difficult to make large numbers of videos. And the second reason is that I've been playing the game off and on, just letting it run, and I've been literally going round the whole economy, picking up problems mainly from the messaging here. You can see we've got 105 pages. So what I've actually been doing hasn't been particularly that interesting. And one of the things I have been monitoring quite carefully is the changes I made with the orphanage. Because if any of you watched the last video, which I say was several weeks ago, is I was dropped in lots and lots of orphanages to try and fix the population growth. And I've also got a fringe benefit here. If I go up to here, you'll see that I've now got a happiness of 80%. It does go higher occasionally, and probably if I can show you in one of the towns, I'm probably going to pick the wrong one now. You'll see that some of my towns have got quite low happiness and productivity for various reasons. And it's not like they've got anything major. It's just the fact that I have this ongoing problem of keeping the electronics. But when I have got electronics, this is the reason why the happiness is high. Is if I come into here, which I know's had electronics, because what you'll see is that the happiness is, well, this is 77%. But if I come over to here, you can see that these towns have got a happiness of 91%, and they've got no problems. So what I've got into is a situation where some of my older towns have fairly bad happiness, or other ones are way ahead. And that is purely down to the effect of electronics. And I'll be completely upfront, trying to keep enough electronics flowing across the map has been a bit of a pain in the neck. And what I've been doing is constantly tinkering with the supply systems to try and improve the distribution, because it's not so much the production. Because I think, if I remember correctly, let's just go into the economy tab. I think if we look at the imports, you can see I'm actually importing electronics to try and plug the gap. Also a little bit of iron being imported as well. The reason for that is that if I come over to here, what you'll see is that I've had to make a change here, because my original plan of having a common rail station here has not worked exactly according to plan. So what I had to do was build another rail station here, just because of a capacity issue. And if you can see here that at the moment I'm not carrying any real surplus compared to like I was before. I think the coal is a lot better, but the iron needs work. But however, the actual amount of steel I've got is doing quite well. The reason I'm importing the iron is the fact that I was sending the iron from here to Coalville here to keep this steel mill going over here. And what I've done is I've resorted to importing the iron so that I can produce the steel here, which then produces the mechanical components, which if I come to exports, yeah, not imports, exports, what you will see is that I'm actually exporting quite a lot of mechanical components, and they're literally coming from this factory. So this is an export factory, and that's what's keeping the economy going. I think one of the problems I've got is the fact that, because this is a legacy series, in the sense that when I first started this, which was many months ago, we didn't have crime and justice, and we certainly didn't have water. And bolting those extra resources in has put strains on my economy. Now, I don't want to spend too long on this simply because I don't want this video to be too long. And secondly, well, it's just lots and lots of little details, just trying to keep the economy going. But what I do want to show you is the effect of the changes to the orphanage that I got. You can see I've now got a surplus of over 21 to 5,072, which is giving me a few problems with escapees. But generally, the population is growing steadily. It's just that because I'm not building residential accommodation, it's not growing as fast as I want. And the reason for not building residential accommodation, if any of you are following the series, you'll be aware that I'm still waiting to be able to build my last major city in this area. Because what I've been doing is waiting for the beta update to drop so I can start work on my major city here. Since I made that video, the devs have given us a slight indication of the size of the metro. So I am starting to think about putting together my city here. And what I'm going to have to do is just try and make it leave enough space for a metro station. Now, the metros give me a little bit of a dilemma in the sense that is trying to plan it. And my current plan at the moment is to have a loop. So the idea is we'll have a metro station here, another one up here in our small town here, and then what I'm planning on doing is creating a loop so that it comes out to where this station is. So the metro station will be underground. It will then, and that will supply the workers to here. Then we're going to come through to my airport, which you can see is nearly finished. And we'll have another metro station here. Should have a little bit of a problem here with the factory connection. So I've actually put a road bridge over, which is in the process of being built. And then the metro will continue round to this area here, which is coming along very quickly. And you can see what I've got now is a livestock farm and a slaughterhouse here. We are getting the grain being delivered into here. So we've now got the potential to start getting this underway, but I don't think we don't have any drinking water out here because at the moment we're still building the underground pipe connections. Also, the irrigated farms out here are in position, but again, they don't have drinking water. They also don't have power supply. I'm going to have to look into that. If any of you are not wondering what the irrigated fields are, these are a mod by Novu, and I've put this area together just simply as a test to see how this is going to work. But a lot of the crops will actually come from this area here. This guy's just unloading into here, and these crops are actually coming from this farm here, because I had a bit of a problem in the sense that I let the game run and this didn't have anywhere where it was delivering the crops. So what I've got is a couple of trains moving the crops over to here in preparation for getting the livestock farm working. Now, the biggest change since the last video has been that my tourist area now is up and running. And you can see we're getting quite a lot of tourists coming in. And what I've got is a series of ferries coming in from both the Soviet border and the Western border. So if I show you the income from income, please. What you'll see down the bottom here is we're making money from both Soviet tourists and now Western tourists. So we've got this little port going. One thing I am doing is I'm using these Meteor 3242 passenger ships. The reason I'm using these is the fact that despite the fact that the actual NATO border isn't that far, but I did try with one of the slower ships and I found that they were just taking too long to get in across the border and to get to this port. And what was happening is the tourists, some of them were just disappearing because there is a time limit, and I can't remember offhand what it is. I think it's about 12 hours or so while they're traveling. And if they travel longer than 12 hours, what happens is that they just disappear. You can see we've actually got people here waiting. So it looks like I might need some extra buses here as well. I've got this bus here. Let me just see. So it looks like, yeah, we might need some bigger buses. In fact, I think what I might do is just pick that up. So we'll just pick this route up. And what I'm doing is using relatively small buses, but moving quicker because the distance isn't particularly good. And I must admit, I thought I had enough, but I'm just going to buy the buses. So come into here, a bus capacity. Let's have a look at capacity wise. Maybe if I put in one of these. The trouble is, the buses I'm using at the moment is built for speed, which is this one here, which is 100 kilometers an hour. I think what I'm going to do is buy 2 more of these. We'll just add these to the route. So we'll just add these extra buses to the route while I'm thinking about it. Of course, long term, the idea was, to actually, well, let me just get back up to there and I'll show it to you. The original plan long term was to have a metro station here and come in this way, but I mean, I still might do it. The problem is that metros need turning circles. They're not like train stations where the metro, well, as far as I know, because of course I haven't played it, they don't auto turn round, so we'd have to put a loop in like this. I suppose I could build a small loop metro like this going round the same way. Maybe that could be our first metro, is have a metro station there. Probably it might be just easier to do it with buses. The other thing I've also done is I put a small gas station in here, and that's another change I've made, is the fact that I've now got a fuel distribution system here for this area, so that the tankers now don't have to come haul all the way up from, well, halfway across the map. So we've got a local fuel distribution here. These helicopters are really putting these fields together. I'm going to have to do some serious work on here, but of course we need these pipelines built. And these pipelines are taking a very, very long time, and I think this is something that you guys need to pay attention if you're laying out a large area like this. It is the pipelines, because the sheer amount of resources they need. You can see here we need 20 tons of steel still, and even with the helicopters, because at the moment I'm building almost exclusively using the helicopter construction crews. So there's not much point in bringing any workers up to here until we've got the water supply in here. And of course that means that technically I'm going to have to bring the workforce into here. And I'm not sure what the employment situation is here as well. Let me just take a look. If you can let's just see what the unemployment is. Yeah, we've got a fair amount of unemployment in here because I have built some extra accommodation here. What I could do, I don't think I've got a bus here. No. And this doesn't have a power supply, so we're going to need to get a power supply into this area as well. But I don't want to get into building on this video because I do, like I said, I do want to keep this relatively short. So we do have a pretty solid tourist industry going here, which was the main objective of this town. And then of course the secondary objective will be this livestock area here, which will give us a nice big supply of meat for this local area as well, because after electronics, meat is my kind of potential biggest distribution issue. Although this up here it's not quite so bad because we're using a train to deliver meat to this area. But eventually what we might be able to do is turn this into another export terminal here, because this the meat here isn't connected to a what's it thing. It's actually on a road here. But of course another long-term project is to build out to the outer villages, and I think that gets me to this final stage, is the fact that the next update will probably bring this series to an end, and hopefully we would have reached 100,000 population there. The reason I'm bringing it to an end is that the devs in Community Report 55 mentioned garbage, the fact that garbage will be added to the game. And what I've done is I've looked round, and probably a good example is down here. Again, because I started this series a long time before crime and justice and water, what I've found is that a lot of my towns now don't have enough space to add another big complex industry like garbage. In fact, this is probably a better example. You can see I've had to shoehorn everything in, and that's filled in all the different gaps which I've been working on. So I seriously doubt that I will be able to add garbage collection to this map. If the time is right and the update comes, I might give it a go, but I've got a feeling it probably will be a lot more trouble than it's actually worth. So I think just what I'm going to do is just finish up with a quick round off. You can see what the happiness is holding. Health is pretty good. You can see we don't have any food problems. More importantly, I seem to be able to keep the unemployment quite low. It says 1%, but what you've got to remember is that when you've got a population of nearly 100,000, the number of people who may have problems, the figures look quite scary, but they're not there. And I think that leads into a quick update. See, we've got over 5,000 over 21s now, and we are taking fairly substantial numbers of escapees, but there's not much I can do about that because the population is so big, because it's still a lot lower. And of course the economy is pretty healthy. You can see we're just coming up, well, we're halfway through July and we've already made 12 million profit. We've made 2 million from Soviet tourists, 1 million from Western tourists, and that's after I bought a couple of buses and things like that. But you can see the big expense is electronics, and I think if you're planning on building a large economy, electronics is the one that you've really got to work on to keep everything going. And it is a very expensive part of the economy, so it's something that you probably need to plan in quite early, because even though I've got massive electronics production, I'm just going to show you over here. I've got all this lot going full bore, and but I still don't really have enough workers here to keep everything going. But you can see another problem is keeping the chemical production going. That is it, and what I want to do is just finish this video with a more detailed view. What I'm going to do is carry on playing off camera, giving you guys the occasional update, mainly with respect to possibly planning our new town here and starting to get that built. Also, once this area here is online, I'll give you an update on how well this is working, especially the irrigated fields. And then when the next update drops into the beta test branch, what I'll be doing is working on the metro, because one area that I haven't quite worked out yet is if I'm building a big loop here for the metro, because the one thing I haven't quite worked out yet is how I'm going to get the rail construction train into here, the boring machine, to actually build the metro tunnels and the respective stations. But this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.